What's up, guys? I'm Josh Mosiman. Welcome to This Week in MXA, episode number 195, presented by O'Neill Racing. Thank you guys for tuning in. Charlotte SMX playoff number 1 is in the books, and man, it was an exciting one. Awesome to see Eli Tomac back on the rev limiter. But the big topic of conversation is 31 races in this championship. Eli Tomac, Jett Lawrence, and Chase Sexton did not hold back in the post-race press conference, letting everyone know exactly how they feel about the extra long series.
Either way, it's a long season, but maybe there's not much difference between 29 and whatever 32 races. So what's nice though is we get that paycheck at the end.
Yeah, I think it's pretty similar to what Eli said. I think the 31 rounds is kind of stupid. I think, the only reason we all come back is obviously that paycheck at the end of the day for the bonus. So I think it wasn't for that, a lot of guys wouldn't show up. But yeah, I hope in the future we have less, because I think it makes it more rare. You don't see no F1 or MotoGP doing 36 rounds. So I think hopefully in the future we can just have less, so it makes it more of a rare thing and more on a special occasion,
So I'll be honest with you guys, I was pretty shocked with how unfiltered these guys were, Eli, Jett, and Chase, after winning big money in the 450 class at the first round of the SMX series. Now, we all know it pays $1 million to win the championship outright, but paying per round, Jett Lawrence, he earned $100,000 for winning the overall. Eli Tomac earned $50,000 for placing second, and Chase Sexton earned $25,000 for getting third. So big money that they just made, and then they go straight to the post-race press conference where they're complaining about how long the series is. Now, I agree. I think the series is a little bit too long, but it is funny and a little bit hard, I think, for a lot of fans to hear these guys complaining about how hard their life is, when a lot of fans would die to do what they're doing, being able to race at the top level of the sport and be able to make money doing what they love. 31 rounds is extremely long. Like I said, 17 total Supercross rounds, 11 total outdoors, and the 3 SMX rounds. Now, when adding these races on, manufacturers, riders, everybody was waving red flags, but the way that Feld and MX Sports justified it was MX Sports took away 1 national. It was always a 12-round series. Now it's an 11-round series. Supercross, they didn't take away any standard 17-round Supercross races, but they did take away the Monster Cup. Because of that, they said we both took away a race and then we added a race. In the end, it came out to 31 races. So it's a long season, not to mention the guys that do Motocross of Nations makes it even longer. But the question mark is that even though these guys are complaining about a long season and a short off season, they're still willing to sign up for off-season races. Eli Tomac, I think the main reason is because he did miss the summer due to that Bennett's fracture in his thumb. He signed up for the FIM World Supercross Series, which is a 4-round series this off-season. Also, Jett Lawrence, he signed up to race the Bercy Supercross in France and also to race the AUS-X Open in Australia. Now, I think it's great. I love to see the Lawrence brothers go out and travel the world to France and go back to their home country of Australia and do those races in November. But it is also a little bit hard to hear them complain about a long season when they're willing to go and do these extra money races off to the side. Now, one thing I do agree with, 3-round SMX playoffs, these guys are only there for the money. And it's kind of hard to say that, but it's honestly what they said, and I'm just repeating what they said in the press conference. It doesn't sound great coming out of my mouth or even out of their mouths, but it's true. The prestige and the focus is on the 2 primary series. Supercross, 17 rounds. Outdoors, 11 rounds. Jett is stoked that he won the Supercross championship. Chase is stoked he won the outdoor championship. Now, this SMX playoff series, they're going to be stoked if they win that $1 million and make some extra money, but the prestige isn't quite there yet. It doesn't have that 50-year history that we have outdoors and Supercross. Now we're just on the 2nd year of SMX. Cooper Webb even said it in the pre-race press conference. He'd like to do well at these races, but he's really trying to build himself back up for 2025. Eli Tomac has kind of mentioned the same thing. These races are great, but they're also mainly to build him back up for 2025 as well. I don't think we would see Eli Tomac racing those FIM World Supercross rounds if he had a full year of being healthy, racing all the rounds here, but he did miss a lot of rounds, which causes him to want to race extra to build that up for 2025. So the other debate is these guys train extremely hard, and there's a lot of injuries that happen during training.
Racing 31 races in a year is way too much. They took one pro motocross away just to add 3 more SMX, just to kind of I don't know. I mean, they put a paycheck at the end of it, but they don't have to go through the grueling training days. We have a whole off season, then during the week we have to ride to just be good on the weekend. So it's a lot, and you don't really. I mean, I think there was 4 guys that raced every race this year, which is stupid for how many guys show up every weekend. So hopefully MX Sports and Feld sees that and they change something. It's a little bit dumb.
Jett Lawrence, he broke his thumb before the Redbud National. That was during a practice crash. That was not during a race. Now, my question to the riders would be, if there's less races, are you going to ride less during the week and train less? My thought would be no. Trainers, team managers, mechanics, riders, in between rounds, they're trying to maximize their time, get more time on the bike to build their speed, to build their fitness, to become a better rider and racer. And I don't think they're going to take it easy. And a lot of the injuries that we see happen during the week, and it's not even injuries that happen on the weekend. So
I don't know, it's just tough. I think at the end of the day, it's going to take the top however many 7, 8, 9 riders to come together and to say we're not racing this much. But yeah, at the end of the day, you want the sport to grow. So I see both sides, but as a racer, you don't want to see guys getting injured that you want to race. You want them to be there the whole season. And yeah, it's cool that everyone comes back for these last 3 races, but at the end of the day, like, you want them to be there for both the primary just seasons in general. So yeah, I think there needs to be less races, but we got to have a voice a little bit too.
There's question marks that I have. How can we make our sport safer, and how can we train smarter and not harder to save our riders and, you know, keep the longevity going? This year, only 4 riders completed all of the Supercross and outdoor rounds in the 450 class. Chase Sexton, Shane McElrath, Jason Anderson, and Malcolm Stewart. All the outdoors, all the Supercross rounds. Unfortunately, Jason Anderson, he went down on Friday before the Charlotte SMX round, so he did not compete at the first round of playoffs. So Shane McElrath, Malcolm Stewart, and Chase Sexton are the only riders who have done 29 rounds in a row. So that begs the question of what's happening to these riders. Why are they getting hurt? Josh Hill, he posted a video of Justin Barcia's crash. Justin Barcia, you know, missed the last half to outdoors due to his leg injury, and then he also crashed out of the SMX playoff in that Friday practice crash in the rhythm section where he landed on the tough block. Tough block also took out RJ Hampshire in the motos. Tough blocks are my least favorite thing about Supercross. I understand why you need them. Lake Elsinore or Hemet or any practice track, and you look at a Supercross track, it looks cool, but it doesn't look that cool. When you go to Anaheim Stadium and you see that the tough blocks with all the sponsor logos lining the track, now that looks really cool. That looks prestigious and exciting. So I understand, you know, financially Supercross needs tough blocks to sell ads and to promote, you know, their sponsors, but also just the aesthetics of a Supercross stadium with tough blocks looks really cool. Well, tough blocks are also very, very dangerous. Josh Hill posted the video of Barcia crashing, just mentioning how dangerous they are. If you just clip them slightly, you kind of get sent to the moon and go down hard. I can attest to that from racing Supercross in 2018. I landed on tough blocks a lot. A couple times it didn't hurt because I actually landed on the tough block. Most of the time I clipped the tough block and shot off the track or shot into the middle of the track. I had a lot of crashes into tough blocks, especially into the whoops. So there's got to be some way to make them safer. Maybe a triangle shape that doesn't grab your foot peg as easily. If they were staked into the ground instead of just being loose and, you know, able to be rolled out onto the track. There's question marks there on how we can make the tracks safer to hopefully protect the riders longer and prevent some of the injuries. So I hope I don't sound negative towards these riders, you know, bagging on them for complaining about this long series, but I think there is something to learn for the riders, something that they have to figure out. Ryan Villopoto has been great in his post-career interviews, talking about how he wishes he would have had more fun during racing career and trying to just extend it to make it last a little bit longer and not taking it so seriously at times. I think that is something that these riders at the top level of our sport really have to plug into and learn from. Guys like Ricky Carmichael and Chad Reed, even Kevin Windham, Ryan Villopoto, the top guys from our sport, asking them questions. What would you do if you were me in my situation? Of course, it's always different from the outside looking in. Even Ricky and Ryan, looking back at their careers, it's been a few years. It's easy to forget just how challenging and how grueling some of those days are in the gym and at the track. So I get it. It's hard if you're Chase Sexton. There's nobody, it feels like there's nobody you can relate to besides, you know, Ken Roxon and the guy right next to the gate with you. So it can be hard, but I gotta think that those guys should be looking to the guys who have already done it before and asking them advice. How do I extend my career? How do I take some of this pressure off my shoulders? How do I manage the stress? How do I manage the physical stress on my body? That's where the trainers come into play, of managing the load of how hard they're working out during the week and how hard they're riding during the week. So big questions there. Of course, you can always look back on riders who have retired and then came back. Ryan Dungey, he came back. Zach Osborne keeps talking about coming back to racing. Ryan Villopoto never really came back back, but he is riding now for fun and having fun doing that. So there are examples of riders who felt like they retired too early and then tried to come back to racing, and obviously, you know, it doesn't usually work out that well. Christian Craig did retire and then came back to racing, and he's made a new career out of it. Justin Hill kind of retired. He went to work as a sheriff up in Oregon, and now he's back to racing. So there's lots of examples of people stepping away and then coming back to the sport because they love it. They see the potential for making money in motocross and supercross, and really they just enjoy the action of racing and training. So it's something to think about. If you guys have information, or if you guys have opinions on what these riders should be doing, you know, if the series is really too long, let me know in the comments. Or if you think it's really the riders who should be adjusting their training programs to make it last so that they're not burned out at the end of the 31 race series. I don't have all the answers, but it is fun to debate and go back and forth with friends, family, and learn about the pros and cons of a 31 race series. Looking ahead to this weekend, Hayden Deegan is leading the class in the 250s, while Chase Sexton still has the points lead in the 450. Yes, they did come in with points carried in from Supercross and Outdoors, and then they kind of reset them. So Chase went from a huge point lead to just a 3-point lead coming into SMX. So now Chase Sexton still leads the championship. He'll still have the red plate in the 450 class, and then Hayden Deegan, he'll have the red plate in the 250 class. Looking at this track, the Texas Motor Speedway track is going to be interesting. Another speedway, so it's like Atlanta, it's like Daytona, but more motocrossy, of course, a little more faster speeds. Jett Lawrence talked about the challenges of these tracks because faster speeds need a little softer suspension to gain traction, but the steeper jumps still need stiff suspension to give you some hold up in the G-outs. So it's going to be an interesting one this weekend. Does look a little supercrossy from the track map, but of course once you get there, things will change. So 2 different sand sections this weekend. That will be interesting. Really cool to see Eli Tomac run the paddle tire on SMX last weekend. I don't think anybody's ever done that before. 32 rounds is a long year for the pro riders, but it's also a long year for the people that are playing the MXA Fantasy League app. Right now, the championship is being led by CAH 217, and they got 6,537 points. So that's a ton of points after 30 rounds so far. There's actually 338 points that separate the top 100 in the standings, and the top 10 is separated by 100 points, so it's still pretty tight at the top there. The most people have been scoring each weekend is just around the 300 point mark, but there's a lot of points to be made up and lost when you add in, you know, the amount of times a rider is lapped, or amount of riders the leader laps. So lots of technical details there. This weekend we're giving away a full graphics kit to Roost MX. Roost MX is sponsoring the Dallas SMX playoff this weekend. So full graphics kit plus a $200 gift certificate to roostmx.net, where you can get your own custom pit shirt and apparel. So you'll be looking factory going to the track thanks to Roost MX. And as we get down to the wire in this championship here, the winner, which CAH 217, he currently holds the red plate on our app right now. Winner will get the Triumph TF250X. Second place, $2,500 shopping spree to Maxxis Tires for your van or truck or your car to get new tires for your ride. $500 to Boyson shopping spree to Boyson Factory Racing. And then fourth place, FMF, a pipe and silencer for your 2-stroke or just a slip-on muffler for your 4-stroke, plus a $200 shopping spree to their apparel. So lots of cool prizes coming in for the last couple rounds here. So make sure to get signed up. Free to download the app, free to play MXA Fantasy League app, and so we have some epic prizes. And lastly, MXA, we are working on our 2025 450 shootout. It's a challenging one this year as 5 different bikes got big updates. It's only really the Kawasaki and the Suzuki that didn't see major updates. Kawasaki did get a new air filter, but you can use your old 2024 bike and put that 25 air filter in there. It's just a domed filter instead of the flat filter, so not a huge change there for Kawasaki. But 2025 450 shootout coming next week, so make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay up to date on our latest videos and to be first to see our 450 shootout video when it launches. We're really excited about it, been working really hard on it, so hope to see you guys there. Thanks for watching this episode. See you in the next one.